drummer at the time, the very first drummer that we had in Megadeth, Dijon Carruthers, and his dad was a well-known actor, Ben Carruthers, and who I did in a bunch of old gangster kind of flicks, and Dijon was a cool dude, and he was twisted. He was my coffee buddy. He was actually like my first coffee buddy that kind of like, he and I used to geek out on coffee, and he'd been through his drug phase. I was just getting into mine. So coffee worked well, like a speedball, smoke pot, drink a ton of coffee, and get weird and get buzzed and trip out, you know. But so that's why it's funny, the whole weed thing right now. I'm like, God, that was like so many years ago, the weed thing, right? It was like, when I got to, you know, and actually we do the CBD thing, and I got to tell you this, you know, the CBD thing, and again, I'm sober guys, so from the neck up, no buzzo, no bueno, you know. But I tell you, man, my fucking body hurts after I just turned 54. I've been playing this thing for 43 years. I've been playing the bass, right? Long time, right? And 35 of them thanks to you, 35 years of Megadeth. So thank you for your support. Really, really appreciate that. But I work out, and I'm a pretty healthy dude, but man, that fucking beats you up some days, you know? So my chiropractor rubbed some CBD on me a couple months ago, and it fucking took this pain away that I had in my arm. I'm like, damn. I'm a believer. I'm good. So we actually have this Combat Records CBD that we rolled out. I think I'm actually going to put my own face on one, right? So, because I endorse it, you know. So there it is. Hey, thank you, Opus. Should we try it right now? No. We can have a big rub down after the show. Or something like that. So, hey, any questions, comments, insults?
How many of those guitars do you try?
How many am I touring with? I think I have with me 3 now. Started with like 6.
Are they all the same color?
I have a black one, a matte black one. It's really cool. Yeah, I got a black one, a black 4, a silver 4, and then this one. So yeah, it's good. It's cool. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Does Dave still hate running with the devil?
You know, we were having a little conversation about running with the devil. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, my introduction to Dave. But I did get to tell Michael Anthony from Van Halen. I told him, I said, dude, I don't know if you know the story or not, but you know how I met Dave was I was playing Running with the Devil, and he got pissed off and threw a flower pot down on my air conditioner, and that led to an introduction over a case of beer, and we started Megadeth together. So thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Yeah, Michael's such a sweet guy. You know, he laughed and he's like, well, at least it was an easy song, you know. So I don't know. We'll see. That's a good one. All right, I'll take that as a request. Yeah, go ahead. Hangar 18? Well, I'll tell you a little story about Hangar 18, and thank you for bringing it up, because it's funny, I just switched to the 5-string bass, and that song is the reason I basically invented this 5-string bass for Jackson. So here's the deal. So I had a 4-string, right? And we were in the studio, me and Mike Klink, we'd recorded, Nick and I had recorded the drum parts for Rest in Peace. I was down doing the bass parts, and it took about a month to record, edit, kind of get all that put together, and then cut bass. So it took about a week to cut the bass. And the last song that I did was Hangar 18, and the reason was is because I didn't want to play it up here. I wanted to play it down here, right? Right? But the problem is you know, the bass only goes to there, E, right? So I did the poor man's 5-string thing. And I just dropped it, right, for the front half of the tune. So, right? Just to give you a little demo, right? Okay, but then I got to the middle of the song. That note needs to be right there, right? So, tune up is the beauty of recording. You can stop and punch in, right? So I tuned the bass up, and then we got to this part here, like, I don't know. nailed it. I hit right at the exact spot. That was it. Thank you. That was cool. But that was it. To that exact spot, I kind of climbed up and then stopped, tune, and go back in, right, and cut the rest of the tune. And then it was like, oh shit, we got to go on tour and play the song, right? So I called Jackson, freaking going, oh my God, please help, and they don't make guitar, they don't turn these things around, these big factories. It takes a while, to cut down a forest and carve a tree and turn it into a bass, right? And but they did it, and so we, and today, bridge, you can buy a 5-string bridge anywhere. You can buy these 5-string pickups, like all these add-on parts. They're everywhere. It's like adding a stereo to your car, and it's like there's stuff everywhere. But back in that day, there wasn't. We were basically making it up. Music Man, Tobias, there's a few music manufacturers, guitar manufacturers that were just starting to get into the 5-string thing. So we did one with Jackson, and that black bass that, which by the way, thank you to everybody who finds these awesome old pictures of us, like either looking really cool or looking really stoned, right? And from back in this area when we used to come through and play here, like the Penny Arcade with, funny, right? It's funny story. So John Resnick and Robbie, right, from Google Dolls from here, right? So I became buddies with those guys, and they're the funniest couple of dudes, those guys. And they played a big golf tournament, Phoenix Open out in Scottsdale, where I live, right? And this was 2002 or 3, something like that. And so we started chatting with them, and they told me the funniest story that when Megadeth King Diamond came through and played the Penny Arcade, right? They were like, dude, we got to run the spotlight for King Diamond. It was the coolest night of our lives, right? Which I think is fun because a lot of these guys are in big rock pop kind of groups, they can write the songs, they get popular over there, but in their heart they're rockers, and those guys especially, they started from here to a little punk rock band, So I've always had a great affinity for those guys and just being from this area. And of course Billy Sheehan, right? He's the guy, right? So I remember seeing on Van Halen, that Women and Children First tour, so it was 1980, and then 1980 Invasion when they came to play a little town in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, over by where I live in Jackson. And Van Halen came through, the Mighty Van Halen, and Talus opened, and Billy was just killing it. I'm like, holy shit, check this guy out. So it's awesome in the 80s that those kind of bass players were around, And of course, Geddy Lee was out killing it, and then Billy shows up. Then Steve Harris shows up with Iron Maiden. I'm like, wow, what an awesome moment for bass players to step up. And then, I moved to LA in 1983 to meet Dave, and then it was my turn up to bat, and me and Cliff and Frank Bello and all of our era, our tribe, So Rudy Sarzo, I know. I love Rudy. Rudy's awesome, man. Great player, cool dude, And it's funny because we were at the Hard Rock earlier doing our VIP dinner thing, right? We're yucking it up, and they have the Ozzy Speak of the Devil album up there. And it's funny, I realized, depending on how old we are, that's kind of when we come into music, right? Like Kiss Destroyer, 1970, whatever that was, 75, 76, right? That was my Kiss record, and then I went back into all the rest of them. Because a fan wrote me a message one day on Facebook and said, why do you guys always talk bad about that album Risk that you guys did? And I said, look, at the time it wasn't something, we kind of went a little too far maybe, and and she goes, what, I was like 13, that was my first Megadeth record I ever bought. Then I went and I bought all the rest of them, and I've been a huge fan. And it made me realize, first of all, don't ever respect your own work, disrespect it, but like, it's important to honor what all that is, because you never know when again, we're just our age. Like, I missed the Beatles, right? I was born in 64, they came out in 64, they were done, broken up by the time I started listening to music. Kiss were my Beatles, So that's what took me on the journey, and then I think we're talking about Ozzy, the Speak of the Devil thing, because that was like when I got introduced to all the old Sabbath shit. Like I played Paranoid and cover bands and stuff, but I knew Sabbath from Ronnie Dio, right? Ronnie Dio is fucking awesome, man. So anyway, you just kind of get to know bands at different eras and different times like that. So. In fact, speaking of Ronnie Dio, so did anybody, I'm just going to date me and show how old I am, right, which you already know how old I am. Did anybody see the Ronnie Dio Megadeth Sabotage Tour? See, that's what's fucked up. I realize I'm getting so old, I tell stories about my own life, and people are like, we weren't even born then. That was a long time ago, right? So, but anyway, it was an awesome tour, and I guess probably the closest we played was maybe Providence, Boston, and I guess we probably went up into Canada or something right after that, so we didn't really hit this area. But we played Jimmy Bain, who's a bass player, God rest his soul. Amazing bass player, right? In Rainbow, right? I mean, just fucking great. And he loaned me a bass, and I wrote this tune, and in fact, you know what? I need a little help. Opus, come on up. Say hello to Opus from Dead by Wednesday, who you met earlier. George, take your CBD. Take your drugs and get out of here. There you go. In fact, you know, we could actually take this down. Let's do that. Thank you, dude. Thank you. And these guys have been great. It's been a fun little tour here. Everybody pitches in and helps out. It's just great. So, but Tom, we need a vocalist. Can you come join us? Where's Tom? Oh, he's already in the back.
Is that Trigger
Get up
going?
here.
Trigger? There it is.
So there's this song that I wrote on this riff. Figured sometimes it's more fun. I've played enough to the stereo. I want to like play with humans now, right? More fun. Because I was a guy like I practiced to get in the rehearsal room so I could get on stage and play. You know, that's what the aim always was for me, right? And so I wrote this little riff. And say hello to Tom. Tom's back.
Hello.
I'm back. Just as a matter of, only because I asked this the other night and it was a lot of fun. Does anybody know the words to Dawn Patrol?
Yeah!
Yeah? No? Tom wants to go solo on this. All right, Tom. All right, we're gonna let Tom take the lead here. All right.
Yeah!
Look, if we were at dinner and I said, "Does anybody know some Megadeth songs?" They're like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you want to come up and sing them?" They're like, "Oh, no, we don't know how to sing them."
Well, that's it. There's a difference between knowing it and knowing how to sing it.
And we were talking about that today because Tom, probably no bigger Megadeth fan than Tom, certainly of certain eras. And then coming up here and actually singing something, it's like I've done that a lot. I've learned, you know, big fan of Maiden tunes or
And
whatever.
then there's some, and you gotta understand, Dave Mustaine is a very wordy individual, especially on Peace Cells and
Big
some of his
words,
early
yeah.
records.
Big
Big words, and a lot of them. He was like Twista. He was the first. It's like 50 syllables in one line.
I don't know if that's how it sounded.
You don't know? Yeah, he's like, hey, I don't know. Yeah. All right, so let's riff this just because it's a fun little thing, and it's one riff, and it's super simple. What are you looking for?
Who's Dave? Is this Dave or Bumble? 2, 3, 4!
That's Bumblefoot. Okay. Yeah. You good?
Make sure I'm on the right side.